Hello friends, I'm at Marina Chiapas, near the city of Tapachula, along the southern part of Mexico's Pacific coast. And today, I'm going to be working on filling some screw holes. Let me show you this. My name is Rick. I got my sea legs when I was in the Coast Guard, and I commanded a boat much like this one. Today, I take my small sailboat on coastal passages in search of adventure. In this season, I'm heading south from Banderas Bay with the intention of returning to the Caribbean Sea via the Panama Canal. Living the pirate life. Last hurricane season, when I was in La Cruz, I removed all of that old stainless steel Dodger and Bimini apparatus, and I've been sailing without it. And frankly, especially with these shelter hats I've been wearing, I don't need it. So we're gonna fill those holes today. So I start the process by using a countersink drill bit to widen out the holes. Now here I'm just removing some tape that I put on the night before because the condensation that you get in the tropics overnight can be substantial, and I just didn't want a bunch of water to end up in these holes. So just going to remove this tape here. Well, I widened out those holes, taped them off, and then cut the holes around the tape yesterday. It's tedious. That was probably maybe 2.5, 3 hours of work at a leisurely pace, right? I'm not working that hard. Now, at least I've got my first batch of holes that I'm gonna patch done, and so I'm cutting out little pieces of fiberglass that I'm gonna use to back those holes, and then once they're backed, I'll go over with some thickened epoxy and fill them. Yeah, and just like an artist needs a palette to put dabs of color on and mix the color, well, I need a palette too to assemble and hold these fiberglass patches. So I'm going to use this box of Maria's Gamesas to fashion myself some artist palettes for these patches. Oh yeah, I'm going artsy fartsy, baby. So you can see I've got some fiberglass squares on my artist's palette to the left of the screen there. Now, each one of those patches has 2 squares of fiberglass on top of each other. And now I'm going to put together some resin and hardener and wet out the surface that I'm going to put the patch on, and then wet out these patches. And it's really hot here, and I think this is quick acting epoxy, so the working time is really short. Maybe you get 10 to 12 minutes, I would say. So you have to have everything in one sock before you start mixing this stuff. So the first thing I want to do is wet out the surfaces that I'm going to be applying these patches to. This will help ensure that when I apply those patches, I'm going to get a really good connection between the fiberglass patches and the surfaces. Now I'm going to wet out the patches, and this is fiddly business because these patches are small. So on my left hand I've got a coffee stirrer that I'm applying pressure down on the patches to keep them in place, and then I'm using the acid brush to actually wet out the patches. And you'll notice once they're thoroughly wetted out, they become invisible. That's when you know you've got them thoroughly wetted out and they're ready to go. I gotta go to the pool. I gotta cool down. Oh, and there's my friend Kurt's boat, Summer Breeze. Let's go see what he's got going on.
It's probably going to take me 34 hours to get from this point down to this point. Now I've marked it off because I do 7.5. I'm coming back that way again. So I've mapped it out coming out of here every 2 hours. At me going at 7.5 knots. And this is what this boat averages. Now,
how many hours did you mark it?
Every 2 hours.
Oh, every 2 hours.
So there's 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours.
Okay.
Once I get out here.
Yeah.
Now it's going to take me about an hour to get out here. So you got to add that in. So then now we're looking at 35 hours. Because I want to be here at about 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. Because high tide is at 9 o'clock, and you have to be here at high tide to get across the bar. And you got to have a pilot. So if you're here at 7 o'clock, it gives you an hour to get in here and get the pilot out here and get him on board, so you're going in at high tide.
I noticed you were working with this thing. Can you share with my Sailing Frogs Leap folks what this is and how to use it?
Okay, so this is a nautical slide rule, and it will give you distance, speed, and time. You're going to go with the green numbers out here, which are nautical miles. And everything on this chart is in nautical miles. So to give you an idea, on your latitude, when you go from here to here, that's 10 nautical miles. Wherever you go, that's going to be 10 nautical miles. Now, at 10 nautical miles, if I'm going, say, 20 miles, and my boat is averaging 7.5 knots, then it's going to take me about 2 hours, 2 3/4 hours.
Nice.
To get where I'm going.
Very cool. Wow. Thanks, Kurt, for sharing some of the tools you use and some of your thought process in your trip planning. But look at this. Man, I tell you, Marina Chiapas truly is an aquarium.
Hey, little turtle. He said, oh, shit, they're filming me.
I'm out.
Look at that. Popped his head up and dove as soon as he saw the camera. Wow, you talk about camera shy.
Yeah, and then this huge school of stingrays. They just doing their thing, you know, minding their own business. And we just watch them. I still need to get to the pool because, I mean, I usually hit the pool maybe 2 or 3 times each day because I got to cool down between each session of fiberglass work or otherwise. Yeah, it's warm here. Oh yeah, and the lizards are always out on this stretch of path, and boy, when they see me coming, they're going to do one of 2 things. They're either going to scurry their way back to the rocks, or they're going to freeze, petrified. Yeah, just like humans, I suppose. Lizard brain. You know, at first glance, the pool looks dirty, but it's just the bottom paint which has come off because of the just intense sunlight that beats down on it. The staff here at Marina Chiapas keep this pool extremely clean, and it's a pleasure to take a dip in. But I can't stay out here in the direct sunlight for too long. No, I've got to get under the shade. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, well, I'm back to the grind here on SV Frog's Leap, quite literally. But before I get to grinding, I gotta punch out some holes on this tape. Well, this part of the job is a little fiddly and time-consuming, but with some focus and a little discipline, you can get them all cut out, and then you're ready to lay more fiberglass, which I went ahead and did. Well, so now I've got the glass all hardened and sticking out all jagged like, and so it's time to prepare my trusty cordless Milwaukee grinder. It's a rotary tool, and so we're going to use that and trim off those holes and prepare them to be filled with thickened epoxy. Yeah, it's the next step. Yeah, I'm going to use this one. I've used it before. It's about half chewed up, but hey, it's about economizing, doing more with less. Well, I got my tool ready to go. I'm gonna go grind some fiberglass. So I looked at this in two parts. First, I approached the fiberglass vertically and cut off big chunks. Then I come in at a shallower angle and try to get it somewhat smooth. I'm not looking for perfection here because afterwards I'm going to hand sand it. So now I've got all these holes with fiberglass backing. Nice. Even with this hand sanding that I'm doing, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm just merely prepping the surface now and kind of roughing up the fiberglass that I had just put in, so that when I put in the thickened epoxy with the adhesive filler, you know, it's got something really good to stick to. So with the surfaces prepared and high confidence that I'm going to have a good, strong mechanical bond, oh yeah, it's time to mix up some thickened epoxy. Well, thanks for watching this episode of Sailing Frog's Leap. As with anything, there's more than one way to skin the cat. If you skin the cat differently, tell me about it in the comments. For real-time updates, check out Sailing Frog's Leap on Instagram.